All right, good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to our Greenwood School District 52 Board of Trustees meeting for the month of April. I'd like to go ahead and call our meeting to order. And at this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Eliza Owings to come and do our invocation for us. Please stand. Eliza, I'm sorry.
Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us here today. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to come to these wonderful schools, Lord. I thank you for the amazing teachers and staff, Lord, and I pray that you will be with these board members and give them the wisdom to make the right choices that will benefit our schools the most. I thank you for this day, Lord, and I also pray that you will keep us safe and healthy. I thank you for all the wonderful things that you have done for us, and I pray that you will continue to help the ones that need you the most. In the precious name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Reynolds, will you lead us in the pledge? It's over here.
Oh, it's over there. Sure, everybody ready? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, at this time, we need to affirm our agenda for tonight.
Excuse me, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor? Say aye. Okay. And you also have the minutes from our last meeting in your board packet. Need a motion and a second to approve those as well.
So move.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. At this time, is there any board comments? I don't think anyone signed up for public comments. And, okay, we'll do our Heart of the Wildcat at this time. Ms. Weeks.
Good evening. Our staff at 96 Primary School votes each month to recognize a Teacher of the Month and a Staff Member of the Month. The character word for 96 Primary School this past month was self-control, which we all need through the months of April and May. These staff members are known by their peers for being a positive light and always working hard and lending a hand to make our days go smoothly. These two ladies take control when they need to and are determined to make every day a great one. Our Teacher of the Month is Miss Deidre Frazier. Miss Frazier, if you'll come up, please. Miss Frazier teaches academic support at 96 Primary School. She started her journey with us as a teaching assistant for special education, and she went back to continue her education to become a special education teacher while she was still working for us. Her calming nature, her dedication to her students, and her positive attitude is the perfect mixture for a successful teacher. Her students work hard and they see success when they are in Ms. Frazier's classroom. Ms. Frazier accommodates and successfully implements IEP goals so that her students can see the outcome of hard work. Ms. Frazier is constantly working to see what she can do better for her students and in her classroom. Rarely do you find a person so willing to do anything to see a child succeed. Ms. Frazier just recently received a grant through the Knights of Columbus to help fund her classroom with instructional materials geared towards phonics. We're appreciative of all that Ms. Frazier does for our students at 96 Primary School. Our staff member of the month is Miss Donna Matthews. If you'll come up, Miss Matthews. Miss Donna is a teacher assistant in one of our 4K classrooms at 96 Primary School. She was the one I was saying needs the self-control with all the 4-year-olds for April and May. Miss Donna is willing to do whatever, whenever, and however. She's the epitome of a helper. She sees a need and she always takes action. She's always asking, how can I help you? Or what can I do to help? What do we need? She jumps in to assist in the classroom and she creates a nurturing environment where all of her 4-year-old students feel success. Whenever I pop in the classroom, there are always 2 small groups going at all times, and all students seem engaged. We're very thankful for all that Miss Donna does at 96 Primary School.
Good evening, Dr. Taylor, board members. Our word of the month was not self-control. Middle school, it was survival. And so, no, I'm just kidding. I want to recognize our teacher of the month this month is Joey Bagwell. Mr. Bagwell, come up here. Mr. Bagwell is a definition of a Renaissance man. He does pretty much everything at the school, so much so that as a retiree, whenever we advertised his job and posted it, we couldn't get any takers because nobody was willing to do everything that he does. And so, but recently this year, in addition to the band instruction, which he does a phenomenal job on every year, just came back from CPA and got another superior rating with distinction while he was there. He's also the coach of our girls basketball team, which won the Lakelands Conference and for middle school this year, and the coach of the girls soccer team, which also won the conference at Lakelands Conference this year. He has been a stellar, just all-around person to have in here. He has helped me out as admin certified as well. He has been the administrator sometimes at some of the games. After he coached the girls game, then he had to be the administrator at the boys game whenever I had to cover something else as well. So good person to lean on and a pillar of our school. So congratulations.
Good evening, board members. We have a Teacher of the Month and a Staff Member of the Month that are voted on by the students and the teachers. Our Teacher of the Month, first-time winner, is Coach Chad Ellis. He teaches social studies, coaches baseball. I would assume he'd be here tonight, but they're in Saluda right now, so I'm hoping they're whooping up on Saluda right now, so that would be nice. Our Staff Member of the Month is new to us this year, Miss Kim Sears. She's a special ed assistant. She shadows a student in our building, and she's probably at home kicking her feet up because she chases him around all day long. Does a great job with him, and she also helps out with the other SPED students in Miss Whitaker's self-contained class, so she does an outstanding job, and we're lucky to have Miss Kim Sears as our Staff Member of the Month.
Ms. Loudon is not here tonight, and she has requested that her awards be postponed until May. I see that none of her recipients are in the audience, so I think we're clear to do that.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. All right, Dr. Taylor, we're ready for your report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and good evening. On the report, it talks about field trips and activities, but I was going to let Mr. Schoolfield tell us about an exciting field trip he has planned. I put the overnight trip information form beside your desk so that you can look at that while he tells a little bit about it.
Good evening again. So we're gonna do an official recognition of the team at the May board meeting, but the Edgewood Middle School academic team just recently won the state title for academics, just completed an undefeated season. And so as a result, I'm requesting for the team to be able to travel to the national competition again this year. You guys, 2 years ago, the board approved us to go to New Orleans. We qualified, and I think we finished in 17th that year in the nation for the middle school category. Last year you approved and very graciously paid for us to go to New Orleans again, and we made it to the quarterfinals last year. We finished in the top 8, losing to the eventual national champion. We're not sour about that, but they were a really good team. So we are heading back. Well, hopefully we're heading back this year. We are planning to go to Chicago. I'm requested to go to Chicago instead of New Orleans this year, mainly for the reason it's kind of selfish. As the coach, the New Orleans trip falls right at the end of the school year, and it is really swamped for me. The Chicago trip is not until the 6th through the 10th, and so it's after school is dismissed that we can go. So the first thing that I'm asking for permission for is to be able to attend that overnight trip.
Okay, guys, you got that in front of you, so I'll just need a motion and a second to approve that overnight.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, there's a motion.
Second.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you. I'm not sitting down yet because I have a second thing that I'm asking for.
Oh,
I'm requesting.
Go first.
I'm requesting help for the payment for that trip for the academic team. It's close to the time to go. It's tough for us to raise money. I only have 5 team members that were able to compete. I'm able to take 2 extras with me to Chicago. So with me as well, that's 8 people to go with flights and hotels and food for the trip. It's going to run us about, estimation, about $7,500 for that. So I'm asking the board, I'm requesting for as much of that as we can, as you guys can help with.
All right, guys.
If you have questions, I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all have about that.
I think it seems like money well spent. I mean, we can find the money somewhere. The money man's around here.
I gave him a heads up today, so this would not be a
He's
shock
holding
to
his
him.
head down over there.
If the money man and the money woman say that.
It's good.
Yeah, I think it's
we're very
money well
proud.
spent as well, so, I mean, all right.
Motion for $7,500.
All right, there's a motion on the floor for $7,500 for our middle school academic. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All in favor? Aye. It's approved.
Thank you very
You are
much.
quite welcome.
I will be happy to spread that good news to them tonight.
All right, and then what else is in your packet is the field trips, professional lead request, and fundraiser request. And if you have questions about your packet information, I'll be happy to answer that.
No questions.
All right.
We're good.
All right, thank you. Also, there's a parenting report in your package. If you have any questions concerning that?
I don't.
Okay, thank you. All right, I provided at your table too an article from the Index Journal concerning the Greenwood County penny sales tax, and that is a process. And several months ago, Piedmont Tech, myself, Greenwood 52, myself, Greenwood 50 and 51 came together and started talking about a vision that we all really agreed on, is having the Career Center move to Piedmont Technical College, and to provide a facility there so our kids aren't going to Career Center then Piedmont Tech. Dual enrollment kids are going to Piedmont Tech, but some of the other kids are not. And how do we move that facility over there? The current Career Center is quite old. We call it the Technology Center, but it's quite old. It needs some upgrading. Not much has been done on the building for a number of years. And so we decided to propose, after agreeing with Dr. Rivers and the board at Piedmont Tech, they agreed to donate some land and invite us to join into their, campus. And so we have started the process, and it's actually, we actually presented our project a couple weeks ago, and so now we're hoping that out of a subcommittee, we'll go to the main committee, and we'll be able to have the opportunity to be recommended to be part of the penny sales tax. The next big step after that, if we make it there, then we have to have the community vote on it. The county would have to vote on it to say that, yes, we're going to have a penny sales tax. And so we're hoping, we feel like what we're doing from the standpoint of helping so many children and really changing, it's really a pipeline. So we get the kids from our schools into Piedmont Tech, which gets them into the workforce or gets them into college. And so it's just an opportunity for so many people to utilize. And it just makes a lot of sense. They actually have, the Odell Center that is sitting there, that new facility that's on campus and that we utilize, that's got mechatronics and it's got the welding and so many other things. And we see that that's something we're piggybacking on. So we would be right in that area of the campus. and that we would have the opportunity to do some things in the building and outside of the building. And so we're talking about training like for electrical vehicles, logistics, truck driving, heavy equipment, all kind of things that we don't even realize there's jobs out there for we hadn't talked about. But a lot of this is not diploma track kind of thing, it's certificate track. And if you get that certificate and take it to an employer, then you have a job. And so that's our whole purpose in college and career, and it really meets the needs of what we're looking for our students. So we're excited about that opportunity. I wanted to share information and give you the article, but it's just a long process, and so we hope that we'll be picked to be part of that. Do y'all have any questions or comments?
Think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I actually got to go to that meeting where they presented, and it is a neat opportunity for all of our school districts to be a part of that, because if we can get this facility, it'll be right across the street from the Odell Center, which when they bring industry to Greenwood County, they can see their workforce right there that's coming down the pipeline. So, I mean, it's a win-win situation for our whole county, actually. So, very good. I just hope we can get it passed and get her done.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that support.
Okay, Lieutenant Budrew, ready for your report. Okay. Thanks, sir.
This goes along with the safety update portion.
Okay.
All right, in y'all's package, y'all should have the month of March report. Primary school had two. One was an open door, which basically means that either the door was propped open or it was left unlocked. It was found one of our road officers. A welfare check also happened there. Elementary school had one, which was a domestic problem. I'd like to speak on this just a little bit. We had a domestic issue in a vehicle going down the road, and they were coming to the elementary school because the woman inside the car had a child at the school. So it already had happened inside the vehicle, and it was going to the school. She managed to get out of the vehicle and go to the school and ask for help, as well as deal with whatever she was dealing with her child. I'd like to commend the actions of Sergeant Deason, the SRO over there, for taking quick action, and also Major Gosbeth, who was working the road that day, to prevent him from entering the school, trying to go after her while she was trying to seek safety or anything like that. And this is actually one of the scenarios that we've grown up in training our staff here, is that one of the situations was there was a domestic on the road and ended up on a campus, and there ended up being a shooting in that scenario. Luckily that did not happen in this case, but anything can happen nowadays. But I'd like to commend both of those. The guy was arrested and ultimately charged accordingly for his actions that day. But I'd like to commend them for their quick action in keeping the kids safe that day. Edgewood Middle School had a medical call. A student had a medical issue. High school had 0, alternative 0. Transportation had a stop arm violation. Somebody like to run the stop arm on the school bus. High school baseball field 0. Wilson Campbell Stadium 0. District office 0. There's a total of 6, which is up from 5. That should be a 5 there. It's up from 5 last month. It's down from 11. 5 down from 11 last year. Drills and training. All the schools did their fire drills, and we also did the statewide tornado drill. Safety updates. School safety grant update. I've been communicating with Mr. Andrew Mackey in the finance department, working together with him on getting some outdated access control locks replaced at the primary school here, and then hopefully go over to the elementary school and get some updated ones over there, which I'm sure Miss Kelly Graham and Ms. Loudon are thrilled about finally getting. We hopefully establish some type of project timeline pretty soon. I believe we were talking this summer, possibly getting those installed. That way the school's empty, kids are out of there, they won't be disturbing any instruction or anything like that. The next one, Corporal Jeff Wash completed his SRO training at the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy on March 8th. The training is mandated by South Carolina law for newly appointed SROs assigned to schools in the state. The students and staff of the primary school, I believe, are glad to have him back in their school because they asked every day where he was. So I'm pretty sure they are glad to see him back. The extra one that I gave you, last year I contacted the South Carolina Department of Transportation about getting some flashing amber lights at the elementary school zone. They stated that the school district would have to submit a formal request for that to have them installed. After speaking with Dr. Taylor, I sent the request for that. I believe it was just after we got back from school last year or last semester. And they were installed over the break or slightly before the break. These lights will help drivers approaching the school zones be aware of the school zones because some, the signs they had out there just had the time on them. And people were like, well, I didn't see the sign. But you can see the lights. But so those have been installed and are working. Any questions? All right.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Mackey, Finance.
Good evening, everyone. I'll jump right into our monthly financial update as of March 31st, 2024. Our revenues to that point are approximately $12 million. Our expenses are about $10.3 million. We have positive variances on both of those, so we're trending a little bit over budget from revenue standpoint and a little bit under budget from an expenditure standpoint. So I think we can find a little bit of money for the academic team. Potentially, tentative.
I heard it, sorry.
But so that should be doable. We've really had nothing unusual or out of the ordinary to this point. I do apologize for not including in your packet some of the expenditure detail I usually include. I had some technical difficulties, couldn't get that report generated in time, but I'll be happy to email that out if you guys would like. Yeah, that's pretty much it from a monthly update, if there's any questions. If there's not any questions, I'll move on to our capital projects update. We just had a meeting today with Hood Construction and our architect for the old high school, and it was a positive meeting. I know I've talked in the last couple of months about the switch gear potentially being an issue. They have found a workaround. They actually just ordered the parts and built it themselves rather than waiting for it to be
That's good.
delivered on site. So they're looking to have permanent power by the end of the month, which then allows them to get all the mechanical stuff installed and operational, hopefully, to stay on their schedule.
Since they didn't have to contract that out, that means we save money, right?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Well, the contractor did it themselves.
Okay.
So yeah. So that was good news. So they're still trending on schedule. I think they're hoping to be out by July, but worst case scenario at this point, still that mid-August date that we agreed upon from the very beginning. As you can see driving by, they're putting paint on all the buildings. That should be finished, all except, final touch-ups and stuff when everything's done. They'll be done with that by the end of the month, I believe. They're putting sod on in the next couple weeks on the field, finishing up the last of the roofs. Pretty much by the end of mid to the end of May, all exterior work will be done except for the asphalt, which will be the last thing they come in and do. So here in the next month and a half or so, the outside of the building will look finished. They're actually starting some finishing work, installing some floors in some of the buildings by the end of April as well. So they're making a lot of progress, and they've really, especially once that switchgear issue sort of got resolved, there's been no real issues at all with the project. So it's a very positive update today. And some other capital project news, we had our bid date was today for the complex parking lot expansion. That's not finalized yet. We got to make sure they send in all the right paperwork and have to, dot all the I's, cross all the T's, but the numbers for that were in line with sort of what we were expecting and had budgeted. So it will be a project that we'll be able to do, and hopefully we've told all the contractors that it has to be done before the end of, or the start of the next school year. So hopefully we'll have 32 new parking spots in that front lot. And then we're getting a new greenhouse. We had planned on moving the old one, but that wasn't feasible. It was just as cost effective to get a new one. And that should be installed starting sometime in April is the hope, but that's to be determined by concrete. We got to get some concrete poured, and we can't quite get anybody to come do it. So once that gets finalized, that'll get started, and hopefully we'll have that up before the start of the next school year as well. So that's it for capital projects at this point. I'll move on to the budget if there's no questions. All right, so we'll do the first reading of the fiscal year 2025 budget. I'm going to start out by saying this is still very preliminary. This is still very much a rough draft. The Senate is doing their budget work this week. They should have some final projections from the Senate by the end of this week. Then it goes back to the House and to the conference, and they'll bat it around some more and come up with some new numbers. So, our state projections will change. We'll likely have some personnel changes in the coming months that'll impact everything. So what you're looking at now is subject to change and will likely change between now and the second reading. We're doing the first reading here in April just to give us, we have to do 2 readings, so we probably won't have second reading until June unless the state miraculously starts working together very well and they finalize everything before our May meeting. I anticipate we won't have second reading until June, but we're doing the first reading in April just to give us that backup plan just in case. So our budgeted revenue is $17.3 million, approximately $6 million. That is from the state aid to classrooms, which is what the Senate and House are debating, not really working on right now. 7.8 million of that revenue comes from all the different local property taxes we get, and included in that, or not included in that number, is $400,000 projected loss from Fuji closing. That number is still not to be determined yet either, and won't be finalized until August once the Department of Revenue processes all the different tax reports on their end. But from discussing it with the county and the county treasurer, they don't anticipate the loss to be any more than their initial projection from July of 2021, which was about approximately $400,000. So I've got that plugged in there. And then there's some other revenue line items from different penny sales tax money we get from the Department of Revenue as well. But the 2 big pieces are that local money and the state aid to classrooms. Our expenses budgeted right now are approximately $17.4 million. So the actual deficit we're looking at right now, which would just be a transfer from our fund balance to make the budget balance, is $81,650. The majority of our expenses this year, as they are every single year, are salaries and benefits, which we're looking at about $13.4 million in salaries and benefits. And included in that number is a step increase for all employees, and then at least a 3% increase to the salary scales. I say at least a 3% increase to the salary scales because the minimum teacher salary scale now, that's the House version, raises the minimum teacher salary to $47,000 and raises the different steps in sort of a haphazard fashion. The last few years they've done like $2,500 across the board or $4,000 across the board. It's been equal for all steps, all education levels. This year they're trying to recruit more people to the field. So they're really hammering big increases on those first couple steps on the scales and really doing very little to anything else. So some teachers, based on where they fall on the scale, will get, just to get to the minimum, is like between a 5 and 8% increase from where they're at now. So we can't give everybody an 8% increase. So when you look at it, the fairest thing we've determined is to do 3% for everybody, and then anyone over 3% on those minimum scales, just bring them to the minimum. Because like teachers on the higher end, like the Masters Plus 30 education levels, we're already over the new minimum they're proposing. So it's not fair for some teachers to get 8% and then, you know, Mr. Bagwell here get nothing. So we're trying to find an equitable way to give a little something to everybody. So that's sort of our proposal now. Again, you know, the Senate might say they're going to raise it by less than that. So we'll just have to see what happens with the state. But whatever the state decides to do is really going to drive our decision from there. You know, there's a lot of moving pieces to this. As I said, it is preliminary. We would like to set up a budget workshop sometime between now and second reading to really, so I can really, you know, show you guys more of the detail of what we're looking at, where these numbers are coming from, answer some questions you guys may have. So I think we're looking to maybe pair that up with a special called meeting with Kathy and some of her personnel stuff, or potentially like 5:30 before the May meeting. You know, just come in a little early and get it done. So I'm just planting that seed now, so it's out there, so we can, you know, I can really show you that I'm not just making all this stuff up off the top of my head. So I'll be happy to answer any questions about the budget that you might have.
I'm sure if you have that meeting, you can answer a lot of stuff.
Yes. Yeah, I'll answer a lot more then, for sure.
Right, some things have gone down and some things have gone up, so those are the kind of things I don't understand.
So some of the expenses, like a lot of the expense side of it was, I look at, you know, what we've spent in prior years. Do we need to increase this? You know, sometimes you budget for one account and you end up coding it to a different account. So some of that's just matching up our spending more so. But, you know, yeah, I can definitely get more into the weeds on some of those kind of things. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Anderson, policies.
Good evening to all of you. Hope you're doing well tonight. We have two policies that I'm bringing for you tonight for second reading. Policy KFA, Public Conduct on School Property, and Policy JICK, Sportsmanship. I did not receive any questions over the last month pertaining to these two policies. So we're back for second reading or to answer any questions that you have that are remaining for these two items. And if there are no questions, I'll seek a motion.
Any questions? All right, at this time, we'll entertain a motion to approve policy JICK and policy KFA. So motion, is there a second? Second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, those are approved.
Thank you, gentlemen. Also in your packet, under the special project side, is the 23-24 district strategic plan. I enclosed a memo to try to explain what the plan is to everyone and what it actually entails. Every 5 years, districts in South Carolina are to do an improvement plan along with a school improvement plan. This is the second year of our initial plan that we did. So really all that was necessary was for us to plug in the data numbers that Dr. Spadero presented to y'all in the October board meeting with the data. So I've updated the plan and I'm seeking a motion to approve the district strategic plan for the 23-24 school year.
Okay, guys, we got that in front of us. We just need a motion and a second to approve. As Ms. Anderson says, we just updated the data.
Make a motion to approve.
It's a motion.
I'll second.
In a second, all in favor? Aye.
Thank
Okay,
you, gentlemen.
that's approved. Thank you. Okay. That concludes our regular part of our meeting. We do have to go into executive session for discussion of the 24-25 certified staff employment contracts. I need a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
There's a motion, is a second. second. All in favor? Aye. All right.